Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So first of all, I will invite you to join my channel by subscribing me and also share this YouTube channel with your friends so that you can see more of these kind of videos. So from this video, we are going to talk about GraphRAG implementation. Particularly, we are going to talk about Microsoft GraphRAG, which is a free and open source GraphRAG implementation. So in this tutorial, we will be talking about how can we implement this, particularly in a Google Colab environment, so that you can easily transfer it to any other kind of environments. So this is the lineup. We will talk about installation and then graph initialization, indexing, and two search approaches, the global and the local search. Okay, so first of all, to get some intro, let's compare the graph rack with the baseline rack or the vanilla rack version. So mainly there are two stages in any kind of rack implementation, retrieval augmented generation implementation, which is the indexing and the retrieval stages. So these two stages itself, there are significant differences between the baseline rack and the graph rack. So firstly, if we are talking about indexing, the baseline rack, we are doing two simple steps. The first one, the given document will be chunked into small pieces. Then each of these pieces will be vectorized, where we converting them into number sequences. That's it. That's the baseline RAG indexing. But in the graph RAG, it's a lot more complex. Yes, first we are doing chunking. Any given source documents will be chunked. And next, what we are doing is we are doing information extraction. So here we have about 10 different prompts that all these chunks will send through these prompts. And these prompts are specifically designed to extract various information pieces from these text units. So it will do the entity extraction, it will do the relationship extraction, which models the relationships between entities, and also it builds the hierarchies, how these entities are arranged. And finally, it will cluster these entities and build the communities. So all these entities again will ground back to the text chunks so that when we are generating the answers, it will consolidate all these chunks, text, as well as community summaries to build more holistic answers. The final step is to build the graph embedding. So those are the steps we have in indexing. So you can see it's a lot complex and time consuming compared to the baseline rack. So next, when we come to the retrieval, in the baseline rack, what we have is the semantic search, where we will be comparing the embedding of the given question with the embeddings of the chunks, and we'll pick up more suitable chunks in order to augment the answer. But in the graph rack, we have two search algorithms. Those are local search and the global search. So in the local search, it will use the graph embeddings to locate more suitable entities to a given question. And also it will pick up all the directly connected entities to these entities, and it will augment the answer with the local search. So it is more narrowed down, specified answer knowledge scope that we are providing to augment the given question. The global search is the most important part in the graph hack. So this one will consider the communities, community summaries, as well as different entities and their relationships in general in order to build the answers. So it will go through the hierarchies and collect all the relevant information and provide more high quality and holistic answer. Next, talking about the advantages and limitations. With the GraphRAG, main advantage is the global search approach, where we can ask more abstract or holistic questions from this algorithm so that we can get high quality answers. So this is not possible with the baseline rack, because unless this answer is specified in a given chunk, we will not be able to get answers for these kind of questions. For example, given a large narrative, a story, and asking the main themes of this story, the algorithm should go through end to end this story and grab different information pieces to properly construct the main themes. With the baseline RAG, we are just chunking and forwarding these isolated chunks to the augmenting algorithm. It cannot produce a high quality result. It will produce something, of course, with the large language model, but the quality will be a lot less compared to this GraphRAG implementation. So similar questions would be, what are the main themes of a given story? What are the trends of a given dataset? And also we can ask questions such as, what are the social impacts of this narrative, and etc. And also the similar theme can be utilized for the synthetic question generation. Again, with the baseline RAG, if we try to generate questions, these questions will be again very factual and narrowed down to the chunk level. But with the graph RAG, we can create more abstract and more general questions from a given uh, set of documents. When it comes to the limitations, two main limitations: higher costs in indexing and higher indexing time. So it consumes a lot of time as well as a lot of tokens. So this can be something really expensive, especially if you are using OpenAI models. Do not use models such as GPT-4, or it can be costly as well as it can take a considerable amount of time. So go for more faster and simpler models such as or mini, so that you can get things faster. All right, so now let's move to the tutorial. All right, so now let's go through the tutorial. So these are the steps that we are going to follow. We have to install the GraphRAG, and then we will be mounting the Google Drive. That's where we are storing all the indexed files. And we will create a folder in Google Drive called input, and then we will copy all the files that we are planning to index with the GraphRAG. Then initialization and set in our LLM keys in the settings.yaml file, then indexing, and finally querying. So first of all, we can install the GraphRAG using pip install GraphRAG command. So I will run this cell. So this will take a little bit of moment to install the GraphRAG and all the supporting libraries for the GraphRAG. So I will fast forward this part. Now the installation is completed. So it has installed the GraphRAG and supportive libraries to our environment. So the next step is to mount the Google Drive. So you can simply run this code, run this cell, and it will ask for your permission to mount the Google Drive to your Colab environment. All right, so you can run this cell and mount it. Right, so that's the second step. Right, the third one is to create a folder called input, and then we are going to copy all the PDFs and the text and those kind of all the documents that we are going to index. So this code will be creating a folder called input, and then it will first check if this input folder exists, and if it does not exist, it will create this input folder. So it will be executing from our current working directory, which is this particular location. And then here, what I'm going to do is I am downloading this sample Christmas carols novel. So then I'm going to index it using the GraphRAG. So if I run this cell, it will create this input folder, input directory, and it will download this Christmas carols.txt file. So now here you can see the input folder is there, and the Christmas carols, the txt file is also there. So if I double tap on that, I can open it here. It is quite lengthy. I think more than 100 pages in this document. Okay, so it's quite lengthy, more than about 4,000 lines of text. All right, so that's the document that we are going to index. So if you are indexing something else, simply upload that particular file to this input folder. Okay, so the next step is initialization. So we need to initialize a GraphRAG project. So we can do this by running this command. So here, this part you cannot change. You have to stick with it, and that's the syntax. And here is the location where you are going to create your GraphRAG project. So that should be your current working directory, and also where you have this input folder with the documents that you are going to index. So here in my working directory is my current working directory, this location. So I'm going to specify it with dot and forward slash. So I will run this, and it will simply initialize a GraphRAG project. Okay, so initialization is completed. So now, if you refresh this, it will, this command has created few other new folders. So here you have the prompts folder, and there are some set of prompts in this particular folder. And also, you have the settings.yaml file. So this is some of the default Google Drive folder. You can simply ignore this one. Okay, so now we have created this GraphRAG project files. So you can also, if you do not have this view, you can simply run this command to get what are the files that has been created in this working environment. All right, so next we have to do this step. So now we have downloaded and copied all the documents that we are going to index in the input folder, and we have initialized the GraphRAG project. The next step is to open up this settings.yaml file and update our language model API key and the model name. All right, so if you open up this settings.yaml file, you can see this kind of a view, and here you have to update the API key parameter, this one. Here you need to specify your OpenAI API key, starting from SK and then something like that in this format. You have to paste your API key in this place as well as in this place. Those are the two places you need to change your API key, the line 34 as well as line 10. So go ahead and fetch your OpenAI or any other LLM key and paste it here. And also you need to change the other parameters. If you are using directly OpenAI, you only need to change your OpenAI key. That's it. So if you're using Azure OpenAI, you have to set all these parameters. You need to set up basically all these lines of code. So similarly, here as well, you need to uncomment and set these lines if you are using Azure OpenAI. So I will strongly recommend you not to use GPT-4 Turbo model here. Instead of that, use GPT 4 or mini model, so that it will reduce the cost for a greater amount, and it will be also faster as well. All right, so that's the things that you need to do in the settings.yaml file. If you are using OpenAI, simply set the OpenAI key here as well as here, and then also change the model name to faster and cheaper model. If you are using Azure OpenAI, also uncomment all of these and set these values from the Azure portal and here as well. So that's it. So we will be saving this file, settings.yaml file, by simply pressing the Ctrl and S. So I will be setting my actual Open AI API key here. That's it. So just save it and you can simply close it. Okay, so now we have updated our settings.yaml file. So all good to go. Next, what you need to do is execute indexing. So this can take up to 15 minutes if you are using GPT-4o. So if you are using or mini, it will be much faster than this, and it will be also uh, less cost if you are using or mini model. So all you need to do is to run this code. Again, this is the place where you have all these input files, settings files, and these prompts folder. So I have this in my current working directory, and then simply you can run this code. If you run this, it will take some time to build the graph index. So I will be running this, and it will take a little bit of time. So I'm going to fast forward this GraphRAG construction process. All right, so now I have completed the indexing part with this command. So if I quickly go through the logs, there's a large amount of logs here. Okay, so it initiate things and start the indexes, and then it build the communities and etc. as we discussed earlier in this tutorial. And also, yeah, there are many prompts happening in the background during the indexing time. That's why I mentioned the indexing takes a lot of time, as well as it consumes a lot of tokens. So always try to use faster model and cheaper model when you're using the GraphRAG. So at the end, it should show a message like this: all workflows completed successfully. So if you complete this step, there should be new files in your working directory, especially this logs file contain the logs, as well as this is the most important one, the output directory. So this creates a set of Parquet files with all these graph outputs, the indexed graph data. So that's basically what we are using when we are querying this particular graph index. So if we are using the same graph index for the later usage, so make sure to download this, zip this and download it so that you don't need to spend time and tokens on the indexing part. Right, so now we have completed the indexing. Again, you can run this command to see what are the new files that you have in your current working directory. So now we can directly move to the global and local search. So first I will do the global search because that's the main intention of the GraphRAG. So when you're running this global search, you have to follow this syntax, Python -m GraphRAG query, then the root, and here is the root that we are specifying the current working directory, and then method you have to set it as the global because you are doing the global search. Next, the query, and then followed by that you need to provide your question. So here in the first query I am forwarding this question: how does the Christmas Carol address the theme of social inequality? This is a very abstract question. It needs to understand the whole story end to end in order to give a proper quality answer to this question. So here you can see it gives right. So it provides some information about the our configuration, and then it gives a success global search response. And then here it says the addressing the social inequality in Christmas Carol. Okay, Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol serves as a poignant critique of the social inequality, blah blah blah, and it says the transformation of the Scrooge and the role of the spirits, contrast of the wealth and poverty. Likewise, it gives a very comprehensive answer to our question about the theme of social inequality. All right, so let's go forward. I will ask another more abstract question. I'm simply asking what are the main themes of this story? So, what are the main uh, areas, key insights or key themes that we can extract from this whole story. So if you are using a baseline rack for this kind of usage, unless it is available in a given chunk, it will not provide us more accurate or high quality answer. So here I'm getting the response. Okay, several themes contribute to the moral and emotional depth. All right, so here it says the redemption and transformation, compassion and social responsibility, family and community, wealth and poverty, and then conclusion. So it provides a good conclusion on all these themes. So likewise, we can get a very good understanding about the entire story end to end. All right, so that's how we can use the global search. Next, we can use the local search. The local search will directly map the questions to the entities as well as the connected entities to these entities. It will not go up to the community level and do the abstractions, but it will again provide us these more factual and more narrowed down answers. All right, so here I'm asking what is the main character of this story, which is a very factual, very narrow question. So these kind of things are working really nice with the baseline RAG. So, all right, so okay, so it runs some commands here, right? So it says the main character is this one, so it's the correct answer, and it also provides some additional information about this character's transformation, and it tries to always provide more complete answer, but we only need this particular name, so we can get it from the local search. Here again, I'm asking another question. Who is this uh, person, the main character Scrooge, and what are the main relationships of this particular character? So, because this works as the local search with the entities and connected entities, it should correctly answer our query. Okay, so it gives the right. So explaining who is Scrooge, and then it also provide all the main relationships. Marley, Chatgpt, and Tim, Fred, all the relationships are provided in here. All right, so that's pretty much I wanted to cover from this tutorial. How to initialize graph index in Google Colab, and how to provide your document index, and then to run global and local search. So I will include the link to this tutorial in the description. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.